I extend my warm welcome to all of you to our exclusive webinar on unlocking the AI advantage strategic deployment for business leaders. Today, we embark on a journey into the dynamic world of artificial intelligence and its strategic deployment with a focus of achieving tangible business outcomes. In a rapidly growing technological landscape, harnessing AI's potential is not merely an option, but a strategic imperative. As a director, global delivery at Amzur, a leading IT software development company, it's my privilege to guide you through this transformative journey. So, any of the emerging technologies require certain framework, right? So, we understand almost all of your companies have management and deployment frameworks like cloud deployment, RPA deployment, or low-code deployment, etc. So, of course, now with AI, it also requires its own framework as well. So maybe it is pretty much similar or same to the earlier frameworks, but based on our experience working in multiple projects in the past, especially in AI sector, we understand the deployment strategies great amount in detail, based on which we have come up with our own framework, which includes all these 5 core pillars. To start with assessing AI maturity, all the way to delivering on what the roadmap look like, the start and endpoints includes, other than assessing the AI maturity, it would basically lead to aligning deployment objectives and business objectives. The business objectives are like, for example, most of you would have probably looking to AI for primarily one of these two reasons, right? Either improving the operational efficiency significantly or deploying AI on your business processes, thereby gaining the competitive advantage. So once we freeze the business objectives, we figure it out how the integration strategies of AI into your operational and business systems. So every organization have a business model, operational model, and a technological model, right? So how to integrate the AI into these three layers called business layer, operational layer, and technology layer. So it is absolutely imperative that it needs to align with your business objectives that you should have identified. So once we figure it out, the integration strategies, that is when we basically start to prepare the business case. So cost-effective AI solutions to maximize ROI is driven by a business case. So once you identify what are those AI tools that are out there in the market to be able to ensure we maximize the ROI while our spend is optimized to a great extent. So all this drives to the roadmap that we are going to design. So coming to our first component of our framework is assessing AI maturity from competitive strategy. So it is absolutely imperative to understand where we as a company stand today. When I say we, I'm referring to all the ones who are representing their companies here in the call. So some of you are probably at a maturity level 5, or some of you are probably at a maturity level 1, right? So having that necessary awareness regarding to where we stand today will give us the necessary power to be able to put that roadmap in place. So while everybody is not supercharged, let me rephrase my sentence. So while everybody is supercharged about AI from an awareness perspective, because it is making a lot of noise in the industry, but everybody may not necessarily be supercharged from an operational perspective, because that may necessarily have need the capability, competency, and the ecosystem to be able to deliver the promise of an AI, which is why identifying the position is absolutely imperative to move forward with the next components in the framework. So first, for you to conduct the AI maturity, I'm sure most of you know the CMMI capability maturity model that has been there in the practice for a while, essentially trying to address the process maturity, right? So much like capability maturity model, Amzur also has constructed something called the AI readiness framework that will deliver on what the maturity of the company across multiple processes. So once the AI framework is done, analyze the position of AI readiness of your company. So there are multiple ways to benchmark that position against the industry standards. So as you have seen the core five components in the earlier slide, which is Amzur's framework to deliver AI program to the client. So you can actually reconfigure the framework specific to your company needs, which means basically developing your own framework, right? So to do this, if you require, you should require any assistance from Amzur, we are happy to help you there as well. So coming to the next one, once we finalize the framework development, we take all the low-hanging fruits. It has the opportunity that has been identified in your company, which means that analyzing each of these opportunities to prepare a business case to be able to understand what those efficiency gains are. So to those efficiency gains, some of them, if not all of them, will have a scale associated. So to those which has a scale associated, you probably wanted to keep them a long-term goals that give the efficiency for multiple years to come, right? At the same way, short-term opportunities of AI are essentially have no scale associated, but still it gives the efficiency for a particular time period. So we do have a case study that we recently completed for a healthcare company, and we are extremely proud about it. And I'm going to delve into this case study more in detail in little later. So once we have identified the business opportunity, which are short-term and long-term in nature, and once we have derived the business case for those opportunities, the next most important thing is prioritization. So not all the AI opportunities can be prioritized. That needs to be aligned with a budget, right? And most importantly, the capability and competency bandwidth of your company's culture to be able to execute that opportunity. So it's not just a budget. I'm sure most of you would have been already allocated the AI budget for 2024. It is not necessarily only the budget, right? So it is about the awareness of the people, competency of the people, and capability of the people that will derive the whole prioritization. So the key criteria of prioritization is to ensure that no operational disruption on the floor while we are implementing the emerging technologies like AI. So now we have identified the opportunities. So now you need to understand who are all the stakeholders to be aligned to these opportunities. So like, for example, if you take an example of in healthcare, the stakeholders would be from patient to all the way to this specific surgeon. Or if you take an example of an IT company, from a programmer to all about to a CTO kind of a role, right? So basically, we need to make sure that, so maybe probably you may ask me a question here. There will be too many stakeholders. How do we ensure that there is a core group and a non-core group, right? So identification of the stakeholders is simple, right? So basically the stakeholders who will get materially impacted positively or negatively to be part of core group and are not materially impacted, they are to be part of the non-group. So first form a stakeholder group, engage them, educate them, and get a buy-in to be part of this entire journey till such time that the deployment happens. So basically the stakeholder need to be part of this entire journey all the time with a close collaboration with all the respective stakeholders. So the advantage here is that they will become the ambassadors of your company for all the AI deployments going forward across all multiple functions. So the next one is cost-effective AI solutions to maximize ROI. So once we identify the stakeholder group, explore the solutions that reduce the costs by leveraging different AI services like cloud, AI tools, AI technologies. In our experience, we have figured it out that LLM framework like ChatGPT, which is an open AI, is growing significantly in the recent years in a significant pace that we could basically use. But for that to be successful, understand whether that meets your business objectives to prepare a business case to be able to ensure that we maximize the ROI. So proof of concepts and get a buy-in from the stakeholders before going into big. And most importantly, to gain the cost efficiency, make sure that timely upscale the resources and utilize them cross-functionally to by keeping an eye on the budget with regular interval assessments. So all this drives to the roadmap, but most importantly, form an executive governance model for continuous alignment, evolving business strategies. Evaluate how effective the framework that you have designed or you constructed, or you need to identify and track the KPIs to gain competitive advantage and ROI optimization. So the most important thing, as I spoke about this case study in the earlier slides, we have completed a really challenging project for one of our healthcare company. To the extent for us to enable to deliver the project, it was expected Amzur to be HIPAA certified, right? So which means that we have gone through all the full cycle of assessments to get the certification before we could take up this project. I'll tell you why in the coming slides. So what is the big thing of the case study? Let's call the healthcare company that I was referring to as Clinic Inc., right? So the clinic basically had this problem. It seems to be a simple problem, but thousands of patient reports come to the internal system of the clinic or chain of clinics. Most of these patient reports run into like 15 to 20 pages of information and practically getting impossible for the doctors to go through the report and summarize what the patient condition was. So client was looking for a solution where, based on the parsing all the reports in real time, clinic would receive a summary of what the diagnosis and the prognosis of the patient information and back to the doctor for quicker and easier decision making. So we have applied our framework and we conducted 3 days of workshop to do a AI maturity assessment of the clinic or chain of clinics. And we have explored the stakeholders like doctors, nurses, hospital staff, IT staff of the clinic. So after prioritization, customer agreed to do a pilot for the biggest operational problem, which has high volume of patient reports. So we have identified, so to proceed with this, we have identified LLM framework, which is ChatGPT. By the way, we have assessed more than one LLM, like OpenAI is one of them, Anthropic is another one, and Bard is another one, right? So after assessing all these things, we have finalized that the OpenAI ChatGPT LLM is a suitable solution for this problem because it has SOC 2 Type 1 compliant and HIPAA compliant as well. So also we went ahead with the enterprise edition, enterprise version of the ChatGPT for the client and as well as Amzur for doing the testing and necessary deployments. Why the enterprise edition? Because most of you know that LLM will not use the information to train their machine learning model, right? But the open accounts they use to train their right? So obviously, we could not directly connect the internal system of the clinic to the ChatGPT LLM. So we had actually built a backend engine, which requires for custom coding. So we use the technologies like C# and .NET and integrated that with secure API using the API framework of ChatGPT. So we have taken the entire solution and put that onto the cloud. But we have realized that the solution outside the cloud had performance issues. So we have taken the advantage of cloud processing, which is Azure, for its processing capabilities. They are driven by AI, right? So we basically processed thousands of reports with as much little delay as possible. And the most important thing, as I mentioned in our framework, we have taken a small one here, but it appears to be a small in terms of the opportunity. But it was the major operational headache for the doctors to go through the reports right? So regardless of the doctor's efficiency in going through the reports and summarize it is a time consuming process. That's when they wanted us to get it automated. So we started small and now it's a scalable opportunity because already Amzur has solved the problem, right? So the administration team is basically thinking to deploy that solution as a SaaS application for the other healthcare sectors to generate more revenue. That's where Amzur's advantage is. So as we approach the conclusion of this enlightening journey, I leave you with a few strategic steps to consider, right? First, evaluate your AI readiness and set clear, well-defined goals. Next, ensure that AI complements and enhances your existing systems rather than complicating them, right? And while investing in AI, do so proportionally to the value it adds. Key eye on improving customer experience, market share, competitive advantage, and operational efficiency. Remember, it has the potential to redefine how you deliver your products and services to your customers and navigate the ever evolving the marketplace. So with this, I thank all of you for joining us today, and we look forward to our continued success in unlocking the AI advantage.